Hey guys, just finished watching The Gifted, Season 2, Episode 15, Monsters. This episode is really interesting. It's the before last episode, so the next episode we have will be the season final for Season 2, and I think it's going to be interesting to see as to where things go. I like this episode is to see as to how things kind of folded out and stuff. We start off this episode with a pretty interesting idea with a flashback to kind of 5 months ago or a couple months ago with Blink and Thunderbird just in bed, kind of just talking and stuff. She just talks about how she's always thought sometimes when life got kind of overwhelming, to just kind of go and teleport to nowhere type thing, which I assume they're not talking about the actual place where the collector is and stuff, but just kind of nowhere in between, space between things and stuff. So I think that could be something interesting to see, is if she's there, and maybe they could say that there's some sort of healing element there. Maybe she could go there and kind of heal. But I think if she actually is nowhere, in middle, in between spaces, just kind of in the middle, in between teleportations, and just kind of went in a portal, but didn't really set up a portal, type thing. I think that could be something interesting to dealing with that and playing with that for a season 3. But especially at the end, it looks like he kind of hears her, but it's unclear if if Thunderbird is actually hearing her or if he's just part of him, because throughout this episode he's kind of distraught and he doesn't not really into much of this episode because of him dealing with the death of Blink and stuff. And I think that's going to be interesting to see as to where things go with that for season 3. I'm not sure if it's been renewed yet for season 3, but I'll try and look it up after this and just put it into the video or something. If not, I'll get it for the next video, but to see if we get a season 3. And I think it's going to be interesting to see as to where things could go, just because if she is in the middle, in between portals or something, and she talks about how she's thought about it, but does she really understand, what would happen to do there? And if she went there, does she know how to get out? I think that could be something interesting to see, and I think it would be something cool to play with. But it would just kind of take away, especially, I'm glad they didn't do it in this episode. I mean, there's some slight teases to it. It wasn't there for nothing, right? They didn't put that flashback and say in the beginning of the episode for no reason, right? So I think it would be something interesting to play with, but I'd like to see her not see Blink until, season 4 type thing, end season 3 with, a little bit more like, oh my god, she's out there, and then all type thing. So you end season 3 with maybe throughout season 3 you give a few slight nods, right, that she's out there, and everyone just kind of shrugs it off, and he just shrugs it off as him going crazy, right, hearing her, and not really sure as to how he's hearing her, right. And I think that could be something interesting, and then end it with her saying something important that would relieve to the idea like, I'm alive, I'm in between things, I don't know how to get out type thing. And then we go into season 4 with them trying to figure out how to get her out of wherever she is type thing, if she's still alive. I think that could be interesting to play with it that way. But to not cheapen the whole like death in last episode, you gotta just leave her out of season 3 completely. Maybe pieces here and there, like I said, a few voiceovers here and there, just like some words, right? And he hears throughout season 3, just to kind of make it look like he's kind of just losing it, right, and just seeing her everywhere. That could be something interesting. But trying hearing her voice in places, I'm not really sure if it's really there, if it's just that's what he's, it's part of grieving, right? I think that could be something interesting with that, especially with him having lost multiple lovers. Like he lost Dreamer in the first season, now he lost Blink. So I think him dealing with that and him going down this path, playing in season 3, with him dealing with some sort of PTSD from losing people close to him like that. Again, I think that could be something interesting to see, and to see that play out. And then only in season 4 or 5 reveal that, oh no, she's actually still alive in between stuff, but kind of tease it very slowly, hint at it type thing, playing on the idea that, it's actually convincing people that it's actually, just him going crazy, right? I think that could be something interesting. So we see Reed in this episode ends up killing Officer Wilson from one of the purifier stuff, and I think that was a great scene. That was really cool. I didn't expect him to do it. He did that, and he just kind of touched him, and ended up killing him, and I think that was really interesting to see. And then we get a scene where we see Kate and Lauren, and they're just kind of walking around looking for a place to hide from the police, and she scattered all the Morlocks that she had in her van, because as a group they get spotted too easily, right? So she scattered them and stuff, and they're trying to find a place to hide out. She's just carrying this giant gun, this giant Desert Eagle gun. Like it just seems a bit silly that she would just carry it around, and any bystander would go, "Oh my God, that looks suspicious. She's carrying around a huge gun, right?" And they would just call the police type thing. And I didn't really understand that. Now, if she had it, in her pants type thing, in the waist of her pants, just kind of hiding it, walking around like that, ready to go anytime, that would make sense. She's on edge, everything like that. I get that, but just kind of walking around, flinging it around as if it's, as if it's her purse or her wallet or whatever, just kind of not carrying it, not caring that she even has it in her hand, just kind of just silly, just because she's trying to be low, she's trying to she's trying not to get caught by people, right? So it's just kind of silly to see that. So it was just really a WTF moment for me. It just kind of threw me out. One of the best moments in this show, and I love when they do this, and they do this more often in more of these shows. It was the Chris Claremont cameo, who's actually a co-creator of the Morlocks. So I think that's really cool, and that was really cool seeing them. He plays, they have him listed here on IMDb. He plays one of the theorists. Theorist. He plays a theorist on the computer that Jace Turner at the end of the video. At the end of the episode, Jace Turner is looking at a computer screen and he sees a theorist who's talking about mutants and stuff, and it's straight up Chris Claremont. I think that type of cameo was just perfect. They didn't he doesn't really need to go on set really, because it was over his shoulder and you're not really zooming it in the screen. Chris Claremont could have just filmed it from his own webcam and sent it in, and that really was perfect, right? That's all you need. So I think they need to do more things like that, and they could get easy cameos like that by the comic creators, by people like that. And it was all obviously pretty cool still seeing Stan Lee at the beginning of this series. In the first episode, Stan Lee has this cameo, but I think it was really cool seeing that, and I kind of like more of these cameos happen. I think it should be more often, and it's not the first time we've seen Chris Claremont in the movies. He was in Days of Future Past because he wrote that, and I think this might be the second time he's had a cameo. Actually, you might be able to just click on his name in the movies here. I mean, they're gonna list him as writer type thing. He was also in X-Men Last Stand. And yeah, he's just been credited as writers for other stuff. But I think that was really interesting. I definitely can't wait to see more cameos like that. But like I said, it's really easy for them to just do that. They could just film them themselves, film their own stuff. They can play anyone, put it on a screen, a TV in the room, or a video that goes viral on the internet that the character looks up. So I think it's really cool seeing that, and I really like when they when they do that, and I think that's really cool to see. That, and I think what the shows can easily do is, after that, go online once the episode airs, goes online and post it in the on their social medias, or just kind of afterward post, say, "Who do you know who this is?" And it's actually Chris Claremont, or "Did you notice Chris Claremont?" Go back and rewatch the episode if you missed Chris Claremont's cameo and stuff. So I think that was really cool, and I really like seeing that. And I really like giving those comic creators, the notoriety that they deserve. And I think that's really what helped Stan Lee really become so popular, just because all these movies came out and he always had these cameos in them that really kind of helped him grow as Marvel grew too, to becoming the big, famous, famous, most successful, franchise in history. So I think that's really going to be cool to see where these future of these cameos go. So we see Polaris ends up telling Andy about everything, about Reva working with the purifiers and stuff, and all that stuff. And then Andy ends up talking to his father, and Reed tells him how he killed the person, right? And they're kind of bonding. Or he's kind of like, I know what you're going through. You can come home. I know exactly what you're going through. I'm going through it too. So we can go through this together. And I think that's pretty interesting to see as to where things go with that for season 3 if we get one. So I think that'll be cool there, because I don't think we're going to be touching too much upon that in the next episode, just because it's obviously the last episode and we're going to deal with the big fallout of everything. So I think that'll be cool to see as to where things go with that. But one of the things I can't wait to see is we also see that Jace Turner is kind of unhappy that that the Morlocks that they went after were actually just families and not terrorist organizations as he was told. So that was interesting. And then we see Andy ends up coming home, and so does Polaris too. So I think that's going to be interesting to see where things go. We also end on the note with Reva finding out that Andy and Polaris there are both gone, and then she decides, we got to kill them and stuff. So I think that line, it was a good ending, but it's like, it gets me scared for the next episode, for the last episode, because the whole point was that they're going to go attack the White House or those big places, big government organization, attacking the White House, attacking the I can't think of the other stuff, the Pentagon, things like that, right? But at the same time, now that they're going to go do this, I really still want them to go after the White House and then go do this, right? So I think that could be something interesting to see as to where things go with that. I don't want the inner circle to just go, oh no, we're not going to do that. We're going to go after the mutant stuff, and we just get a mutant underground versus inner circle. I want that. Obviously, that's where we're going to get. But I wanted that to be at the White House, at the Pentagon, wherever they were supposed to go, and go do it there, rather than just them going to the mutant underground and attacking them there. It would just be kind of boring. But if they went to the White House, to the Pentagon, somewhere big like that, or then they would be interesting to see that out in the open, with the purifiers involved, mutant sentinel services involved. All that stuff could be something interesting to play with, and I definitely can't wait to see as to where things go with this. And we're also going to be interested to see as to where things go. I'm not mistaken, I've seen some headlines, but I didn't read any of the articles yet, but about the rumors of there being some X-Men movies, X-Men shows for the Disney Plus service, Disney streaming service. So I think that could be something interesting. I think I saw one of the headlines being some sort of Wolverine origin with that. So I think that could be interesting to see as to where things go with that. And how is this show going to stay on? If they decide to start doing X-Men movies, X-Men shows over on the Disney streaming service, then they're not going to keep this stuff that's that's disconnected from that, not in the MCU, especially if they're doing X-Men stuff in the MCU. I don't see this show really standing out. Even if they just start doing movies in there, I don't see this show sticking around too long. So we'll have to wait and see as to where things go with that. But if they put the X-Men movies is not until like 2023 is when we get an X-Men movie, then why not leave this show going and let it get one more season and then let it end on its own terms, right? I think that could be interesting. So hopefully, if we do get a season 3, maybe that could be the actual ending, and the writers and everyone involved could go into it knowing that it's the last season, instead of just kind of writing an ending that's like open for another season, but not a direct ending. Whereas they could straight up, if they know that it's going to be their last season, they could actually end it with a proper ending, like reveal the X-Men for the last episode. It's like, hey, we're here to help, and the X-Men are back to helping it, and that's when you end the episode, right? With a super comic book accurate X-Men finally showing back up and explaining where they've been or whatever type thing. It could be something interesting. But I'm just going to be interested to see as to where things go with the show, with the future obviously going to be eventually having the mutants in the MCU. They wouldn't really want this not connected when they could be having, they had their movies, X-Men, doing all their stuff, and then have the other stuff on Disney streaming service doing other, mutant related, X-Men related MCU X-Men stuff, and then they wouldn't want to have this one. There's kind of what some TV shows, some X-Men shows are MCU and some X-Men shows are not. That would not make sense. So I don't see this show lasting too long because of that. So we'll have to wait and see as to where things go. But hopefully we can get at least one more season to at least we can get a proper ending, so that the writers like Gotham right now, they can go into the full season knowing that it's going to be their last season. So let me know what you think, guys, about this in the comments below. And what type of season finale would you like to see them for the series complete? Would you like them to kind of have the X-Men show up and that be the ending, the last episode ever for this show? I'll have to wait and see as to where things go with that. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes subscribing is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.